It is a very serious situation that we're in. The speech yesterday by President Putin, the 65-minute long diatribe, has been, many analysts have said, it's a declaration of war. And so we've seen the Biden administration trying to identify these false flag activities for the last few days. And it seemed that Putin just decided to go ahead with this, even though the idea of 5 Ukrainian soldiers passing into Russia, most people had said that that was just a false flag and an excuse for Russia to take these actions. So I think that they are trying to frame it. They're preparing the Russian public for possible war, possible people coming home in body bags. And as we know, that as they evacuate women and children from the region, the men are staying because they're expected to fight. So I think that with 190,000 troops surrounding Ukraine, I think that it might be more than just declaring Luhansk and Donetsk, sovereign. And the other thing that's a bit unclear right now is that how much of that area, is it just what's occupied now by Russian proxies, or will it be the entire region? And so I think that the Kremlin is almost deliberately keeping that unclear, because at this point no one really knows. That's the big question mark over everyone, and that will have an effect on the type of sanctions that both the Europeans are willing to impose. And it's interesting to note that as your presentation noted, the UK, which is now Brexited from the rest of Europe, is trying to lead the charge here, and they've already announced sanctions, but the first set of sanctions on 5 banks and 3 Russian people. So I think that they're trying to lead the charge, and the Europeans may be a bit divided on this, but we've also seen a clear message from German Chancellor Scholz that Nord Stream 2 will be suspended, the Russian gas pipeline to Germany. I mean, we always must try for diplomacy, but we've seen this diplomats and world leaders beating a path to the Kremlin's door, and pretty much nothing was happening. I mean, even Wallace of the UK said it had a whiff of Munich about it, because there was never any de-escalation. That was kind of what was needed for continued dialogue. So the Russians pretended to de-escalate while continuing to escalate and having all of these discussions. We saw President Macron pretty much humiliated because after 5 hours of discussions with Putin said it was a form of torture having to talk to Macron for so long. Well, they had the meeting at Nato, which was the first time in 2 years that they met at that level. And I think the way that Putin submitted his demands was not a way of having dialogue. He said, sign this. This is what we want. We want this to be a treaty. So there was no discussion, really. There was no dialogue. It was like, take it or leave it. And I think that there were some off-ramps offered to Putin. For example, discussions on troop placement, missile placement, and possibly, nuclear weapons discussions once again to reanimate those discussions. So I think that they did try to offer them off-ramps, but Putin has not accepted that at all. And I think that instead of getting less NATO, the Kremlin's getting more NATO. We're seeing Sweden and Finland watching this very closely. And as we know, they are neutral countries. But maybe if you're not a member of NATO, this is what will happen to you.